People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now Martinelli, Maitland-Niles, sorry, has been speaking, and I think he's a bit misunderstood and stuff like that generally, and he's been speaking, I believe, to Sammy Mokbel of the Daily Mail, so I thought I'd give my opinions on what he said. First, obviously I've paraphrased a bit of it. First and foremost, he said, it brings a lot of pressure. People have to understand we are a work in progress. People need time to develop and build confidence. We are really working hard to give the fans the pleasure and happiness they used to have. I didn't copy and paste it all, but he spoke about young players and developing and obviously learning the tricks of the trade. He said, in relation to Aubameyang's hope for the homegrown generation, he said, it's definitely possible that we can have a homegrown generation. The players have got the talent, they've got the physicality, they've got the brain power to do it. It's just about whether the manager has the trust in the players to play them all at the same time, and if he wants to take that big risk. Maybe there will be a few mistakes, a few points cost here and there in the beginning, but in the long run, I think it'll be very beneficial because these players have been playing together for years and they know each other inside out. Of course, so immediately, yeah, if you play young players, you know, there will be times you're going to lose games or things didn't happen, but you know, I have high hopes for Martinelli and Saka in particular. I think Emile Smith-Rowe and Nelson can really nail down first team places within this side. I'm a big fan of Maitland-Niles. I think Joe's got enough to be a squad player here and offer what he can. Same as Eddie, and if he keep improving, who knows? But the key is will it all gel together, because they're all developing at different rates. You know, Saka and Martinelli, I don't want to say they ain't gone through adversity, because Saka has in his career, but in relation to the first team, there's nothing they can do wrong. There's going to be times they hit roadblocks where stuff they're trying isn't going to happen. Same way Nelson, you know, everything he touched, him and Emile, anything they touched at academy level seemed to turn to gold. And it's almost like, I don't want to say they're not the same players in the first team, but it's almost like people look stupid for hyping them and stuff, which is not the case. They're just developing. Nelson seems very much a confidence player. How Nelson learns might be different from Saka and Emile and Joe, and they're all developing at different rates. You know, certain players it might be better to go out on loan. Certain players it might be better to stay here. Certain players, you get what I'm saying, they're all developing. But so it might be wishful thinking, believing everybody can, but if we can have 2 or 3 homegrown academy players or sourced young players that we bring in and develop, it could be a good thing. Of course the dream would be to see, you know, a first team 11 of homegrown Hale-End players, or 5 or 6, of course. He said, to see 5 or 6 from the same age flying through in the same year is incredible to see, especially having the right manager willing to play and trust you, which Arteta is. If you do your thing on the training ground, he'll play you. He said, we're pushing each other every day as we have been for the last 3 or 4 years, being around each other every day. Why would we stop now? Which is 100%. Don't get complacent. I'm really liking to see this new sort of attitude I'm seeing from Maitland-Niles. He said, the main thing is being out there with the team and helping. Oh, sorry, people. He said, I would play right back every week if I had to. I'm not really fussed. The main thing is being out there with the team and helping them win games. That's where some people might have misjudged what I said before. They misinterpreted what I said. So I think, yeah, man, maybe you live and you learn again. Maybe he needs to be a bit more media trained and pick his words carefully. You live and you learn. He's obviously referring to, you know, people took it as him wanting to see himself in another position, as he doesn't really want to play in run role. Obviously, you know, and he spoke about Arteta making comments about his professionalism here and there. But it's nice to see this attitude from Maitland. He wants to play wherever he can, you know. This is what we're saying. Lock down the right back position, play your games. When you solidified yourself, by all means, move on and do other things and all of this sort of stuff. And you know, Maitland, if you decide you want a right back role between you and Cedric Suarez, you're putting real pressure on Bellerin, you know, and that might be good for the whole squad, because Bellerin might say, yeah, I've been complacent for years, let me fix up, sort of thing. I think Arteta will give you chances in midfield. He's bringing you off the bench there, but potentially in training or right now, you might not have something in your locker that Arteta is looking for, or he just deems Xhaka and Ceballos, because Xhaka's been playing good since the restart, are ahead of you right now. So yeah, people. He also said, I didn't mean I don't want to play there, because I'd be happy to fill in and slot in and do the job anytime, any place. Obviously, I do prefer playing central midfield, but that is not to say I don't want to play right back, or that I'm not going to do a job if the manager asks me to. If the manager says, Ainge, you got to go in goal this game, I'll put on my gloves and I'm ready to rock and roll. It doesn't bother me what people label me as, because I think the management know themselves. And that's true, you know. Obviously, you've got to care about public perception and your relationship with fans. But, you know, if he's been misunderstood, you could keep yourself up day and night. As long as Arteta and the people around you and your coaches, they know who you are, That's all that matters. It's different, but it's same as Mustafi people. Mustafi, a lot of people, myself included, we're looking dumb right now saying, you know, we should have shot at him, banish him to the reserves and all of these things. Clearly, Arteta has said, yo, listen, you've got to care about what the fans think, but fuck the fans for a sec. I'm your manager. Play for me. When you go on that football field, put out all the noise. I believe in you. I have confidence in you. And he's replicating that sort of thing. So that's all that matters. As long as you're playing well to the manager, as a footballer, that's the mentality you've got to have. Obviously, you've got to care about fans and stuff. But it's lovely to see Maitland, because you'll see, you drive yourself mad. And sadly, especially someone like Maitland, where, he's got a typical upbringing a lot of us have, Obviously, a lot of stuff about his personal life is always being shared online, and people try to link that and disrespectfully add their own thing. And, that's going to happen with him and a lot of other footballers as they progress. So it's lovely to see he's able to shut that out and find peace, because, you drive yourself crazy. In relation to being late, he said, okay, I was late. Maybe once during this manager's time, it was a mistake. I spoke to the manager and put my hands up and took the consequences. Since then, I haven't been late. It was more a learning experience and holding myself accountable as a man. And that's it. If you fucked up, you fucked up. You pay your fine. There will be lateness a couple of times. Traffic, there's all of these things. You pay your fine, you move on. And it's lovely to see that from Maitland-Niles, to be fair with you people. What else can you say? Maitland's got a chance, because whether you think he's good or not, he's someone that the club, similar to Joe, they've identified as the future. Remember when Emery came and he name dropped him? So hopefully it's positive in that regards, people. We'll have to see what happens. Moving away from that, though, apparently Arsenal have been fined 34,000 and warned about their conduct regarding player transfers following the departures of Chuba Akpom and Joel Campbell in 2018. A FIFA investigation launched in January found that the Gunners inserted sell-on clauses that demanded more of a cut of future transfer fees if either of their former players later joined the British club. Arsenal placed a sell-on clause in the contract with Greek club Pakal, is that Panathinaikos? I don't know, to ensure they would receive 40% of the fee if Chuba Akpom was sold to a British club, which he's been linked with, but only 30% from any other club. Italian side for Rissone, I can't say that, but the team Joel Campbell were required to pay 30% of any fee from a British club to Arsenal, falling to 25% if it went elsewhere. FIFA's disciplinary committee found Arsenal had been violating rules by entering a contract enabling it to influence other clubs, but this happens elsewhere, people. So I'm not too sure why we've been fined, but this isn't my area of expertise. Apparently the governing body also concluded that Arsenal had failed to reveal the sell-on clauses details when released permanently into the transfer matches system, sparking the inquiry by the Global Transfer and Compliance Department. The FIFA disciplinary committee found Arsenal to be in violation of the rules for entering into contracts and failing to declare data in the TMS. Arsenal had argued to FIFA that the transfer terms would not influence any transfer decisions by the respective clubs, and said the EFA